बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम। या मौला मेहरबान, या मुश्किल कुशा मेहरबान मौला, हेल्प अस मौला। नूर मौलाना शाह करीम हुसैनी हाजिर। अल hayy 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 Al Hayy Al Hayy Al Hayy Al Hayy. Al Hayy is one of the name from 99 names of Allah from Quran. It's a beautiful name, one of my favorite zikr, because it says the one who is alive and the one who can bring us to life. And we do realize that spiritually we are as if we are dead, and his noor can bring us to life, and that is why we do this zikr many a times before our knowledge session, to pray to Mawla that Mawla, we are spiritually dead. With this knowledge, feed our soul, nourish our soul, that we can become alive. Alhamdulillah, shukranillah, walhamdulillah. So once again, Yali Madad to all friends. We have gathered here to discuss the Farameen of Imam Sultan Muhammad Shah. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. So last class we had started second Farman, which Imam gave on September 8th, 1885. And we had reviewed the first paragraph, and we will continue with the further on. So let me just read from the beginning. हक मौलाना धड़ी सलामत दातार सरकार आका सुल्तान मोहम्मद शाह हाजरी माह में श्री मोम्बे दरखाना पधारी तख्त ऊपर विराजमान थई मुबारक फरमानो फरमाव्या. So Imam came, sat on the throne and delivered this farman. આજે હજનો દિવસ છે અને આ હજની ઈદ કહેવાય છે. જે હાજી લોકો મક્કા જઈ હજ કરવા જાય છે તેઓને હજ આ દિવસમાં કબૂલ થાય છે. શરીયતી હજ પૈસાદાર માણસો ઉપર વાજબ છે, ગરીબો ઉપર એ હજ વાજબ નથી. So Imam is talking about that day was Hajj day, and it is the day of Eid, and people go and do Hajj. Those who are resourceful, who are rich, in Shariat, it is must on them, and we did talk about in great detail in our last class about it. Hazri Imam માટેની નિયત અને હુબ વગર કોઈ પણ ચીજ કબૂલ થાતી નથી. એ કુરાન અને હદીસોથી પણ સાબિત છે. Without the love of Imam, anything which is done, any kriya, any prayers which are done without the love of Imam, it's not going to be accepted. So without the love of Imam, whatever we do, it is not accepted. હાજરીમાં માટેની નિયત અને હુબ વગર કોઈ પણ ચીજ કબૂલ થાતી નથી. એ કુરાન અને હદીસોથી પણ સાબિત છે. And Imam says that this is proven in Quran and Hadith. So Imam is now talking about Muslim Ummah, but teaching it to us as Ismaili Jama'at, telling us that if we were to study Quran and Hadith, we would realize. Imam says it is sabit, meaning it is proven. So there are very many proofs given in Quran and Hadith about the love of Imam. And with Imam's love, all what we do, any kriya, any action is accepted. So if anyone goes to Hajj without the love of Imam or his niyat, it is not accepted. Then one would ask, okay, we Ismaili can go to Hajj. We don't need to, because we can go to Jama'at Khana, and that is good enough for us, because that is like Hajj. And especially Imam has given in Nomi Majlis that when we attend the Majlis of Nomi, it is like as if we are doing a Hajj. So it is made so beautifully easy, comfortable for us by Imam. Why? Because we are lovers of Imam. And then Mola says, તેની મોહબ્બત અને હુબ વગર કોઈ ઇબાદત બંદગી કબૂલ થાતી નથી. So anyone who does ibadat and bandagi, if we have no love in our heart for Imam, it is not going to be acceptable. મોમિન જ્યારે આ પરમાણેની બાબતો પાડે ત્યારે તેની ઇબાદત વગેરે કબૂલ થાય છે. So those mu'mineen who this way do ibadat, this way meaning having the love of Imam in their heart, when they do ibadat, it will be accepted. And then Imam gives us a list of things to what things Imam is mentioning here, right? He says that these things, if we are doing without the love of Imam, it will not be acceptable. And first thing Imam says, Hazri Imam ni dosti, friendship with the Imam. Now this is very interesting, that how can we be friend with Imam? We can be friends with each other. Imam is exalted, sacred, above all us. He is Noor. How can we be friends with him? But his loving and affection for us, he says, he tells us that we can become friends of Imam. Now the question would be how? So there is a journey which one has to take. Being Ismailis, we say our first level is that when we go into Bayat, we say, Mawla, your farmans are on my neck, meaning that we have to be obedient to Imam no matter what. And Imam Sultan Muhammad in his farman says that, think of a dog belt on the dog's neck. My farman should be on your neck like that. So what we are saying with that farman, that allegory, that example Imam used, that we are his slaves and he is our master. That is the first step. When a slave continues to serve devotedly without any, stone left unturned, unconditionally following Imam's Farameen with conviction, not with convenience, and following the path of Sirat al-Mustaqim, a time comes when one can say that there can be friendship with Imam. And the journey doesn't stop there actually. It continues to go on, and a stage comes when a moment becomes a lover and Imam is beloved. So there is a relationship, a romantic relationship with Imam in our heart, but it's a spiritual relationship. So it's such a beautiful journey when we think like that in terms of how to come close to Imam. And Nachis has done some lectures on love of Imam. So if you're interested, do ask Naveen Sahiba. She will share with you. Because it is actually about love of Imam. And that's what Imam said in the beginning, that without Imam's love in our heart, we cannot experience these things which we are reading, which Imam is wanting us to experience. So first is have friendship with Imam. That comes as a second stage. And then Imam says, Rozindini Bandagi, daily ibadat. Now, when we see this word daily ibadat, immediately we would think of Baitul Khayal ibadat, 24, the Nurani time ibadat. But the question would be, what will happen to our 23 hours? Will there be no ibadat? Ibadat word is actually encompassing word. It is a broad word. In reality, ibadat is from the word abd. And Imam actually has explained this, that abd is like from Abdullah, the slave of Allah, Ghulam of Allah. So then when we are saying abd meaning that we are submitting ourselves to Imam. Now, submission to Imam cannot be limited to just 1 hour when we have 24 hours. So, in other words, we are saying that doing the ibadat of Imam for 24 hours, ibadat of Nur. Now, how can one do that? Definitely, we do not miss our Betul Khal ibadat. And then we have zikr, we have tasbihat, we have ilmi classes, we have our Ginan books, Quran book, we have Farman book. How are we spending our time? How are we reading, learning? And then when we are busy with the worldly work, because we have to fulfill our duties in the world, how are we reflecting on these things? Are we putting our attention to the words of Imam, reflecting, like just the way I said in the beginning, that Allah is such a beautiful zikr. Do we realize that we are alive all the time? That is a very strong and powerful point to reflect on. If we are not alive, then what are we doing ourselves to bring ourselves to life? Because it is our responsibility to take care of the soul which Imam has given to us. That is why we are alive. It is his child, and we've been given this child to take care of. How are we doing that? In Quran, there's a beautiful verse which says that your daughter on the day of judgment will complain about you, saying that why did you bury me alive in the grave? And people take this verse as during the time of the Prophet, there were people who were burying their daughters, their girls, alive because they only wanted a male child. Now that is not happening today. That does not uh, exist today. So how this Quranic verse will apply to us today? Does it mean that it is outdated verse? No, not at all. Every verse of Quran, when we read, it may seem that it's talking about the past or history. But it's a book of guidance. It's not a book of story. It applies to us today too. How does it apply? Actually, that girl, that daughter who is buried alive is our soul. Our soul, which is the drop of that nur which Imam has given to us, it will complain against us. And it will say, why did you bury me alive? Meaning, why did we use that soul which is in our being, and that is why we are alive. Remember, if the soul comes out, our family is going to bury us quickly. So it is because of the soul that we are walking and talking and doing whatever we are doing. So the soul will complain to our body, our I, why did you not nourish me? Why didn't you take care of me? Why did you not nurture me? Why did you keep me in your grave? Now that is worrisome verse. And we are not cruel people. We are mindful, conscientious people. We are lovers of Imam. We like to serve. But have we missed our own soul? That is what it means when Imam says daily ibadat. Meaning the way we are feeding our bodies. We get hungry, we feed our body because we need energy to walk and to do the work. Similarly, we need to feed our soul, sustain it, nurture it. How do we do that? By doing this bandagi. Bandagi is from gulami, from slavery, from the obedience to Imam, submitting to Imam. And that is not based on clock, that it is time for dua, so I say dua. Dua time is done, then I do not need to worry. No, that is not correct understanding. In fact, I was reading a Farman just now, and Imam says that do not be thinking of your prayers time limited to just your formal prayers. And this is Khulna, Eastern Pakistan, December 2nd, 1964. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. In our path, we do not believe in only that which is enjoined upon every Muslim. It is not sufficient, but that we should concentrate on the existence of Allah not only at the time of prayer, but also at other times during the day and the night. There is a hadith which is attributed to the Prophet where he is supposed to have said that any Muslim who thinks of Allah in his heart at a time other than prayer, this is equal to prayer. So when we say prayer, dua time, formally prayer, the prayer is not limited to dua time or ibadat time, meaning we are praying by doing ibadat or saying dua. The prayer actually has to be all the time. And this is what we are learning in Imam Sultan Muhammad Shah's Farman. He says, daily bandagi. Do not miss that. And daily meaning 24 hours. Even while we are sleeping, we can do bandagi. I hope you know that. Because it is taught by Imam to us that one moment who goes to bed setting this intention that Mawla, I will say your name and go to sleep. Count my sleep as also bandagi time and wake me up during the ibadat time. This moment also checks his pulse. Imam says that check your pulse, be your own doctor and see, reflect. What did you do good? What did you do bad? So you take your own accounts. Do not wait for your death. When the angel of death will come and take your accounts, do not be waiting. Become your own angel and take accounts of your deeds. Whole day, what did I do? What did I do good? Shukr Mola. What can I improve on? And be critical enough, we improve ourselves. And then we say our zikr, yali, 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 and we go to bed. The whole night is counted as bandagi. So literally, if you were to reflect, and again, Nachis has delivered lectures about remembrance in 23 hours. Those who are interested can ask Naveen Sahiba. So it is possible for us to stay in remembrance for all 24 hours. We do not need to miss a second of not being connected to our Imam, in love of our Imam. And then Imam says, Neek Amal. And I just touched upon it that our deeds also matter. We have to be careful about our deeds, and the understanding of good deeds is also limited. There are good deeds and there are deeds which are considered good by Allah. In the knowledge of Quran, we also have to understand that sometimes what we think of good deeds are actually not good deeds. Why? Why can it be? Because we lack knowledge. Again, there are sessions on that too. Sometimes, let me give an example because it is important, right? And I'm going to give you a very basic example because we are not going into detail of Quranic verses, but if you were to listen to that lecture about Amal, you will study a lot of Quranic verses. But let's say, for example, someone says there's a communication going on between two friends, and this friend says, why did you come late for this meeting, or say yoga class, or what had happened? Or you know what? I go to Jama'at Khana every day. I get so tired. I don't miss Jama'at Khana. Now that comment sounds very naive and simple that, oh, I went to Jama'at Khana. But because there is a pride in it that, oh, I did go to Jama'at Khana. When we say that, make the other person know that I am going to Jama'at Khana, I am better than you, I did good. Immediately that good deed is stolen. Now, in the mind of this friend could be only, oh, they're just saying that what they did, it is truth that I did this action of going to Jama'at Khana. And that's why I'm tired. No, it's not a good deed. It is simply not very intelligent. I do not want to use any words which are not polite. It is not intelligent to be talking about going to Jamaat Khana like that because Shaitan is with us. a moment of pride, a moment of feeling that, I went to Jamaat Khana, immediately that good deed is stolen. Sometimes someone gives charity thinking that I'm doing the good deed, but with the expectation that I'm being praised. My name is taken here and there. The intention was that my name, with the name comes the ego, and here goes our good deed. So these are very simple, basic examples, but there is a higher understanding involved in it. Those friends who are interested to learn this in the light of Quranic verses can definitely refer to the lecture. So, Nek Amal. Within the Nek Amal, we also remember our peers have taught us, right? Lobh, Moh, Maya, Kam, Krodh. All these are spiritual diseases. Peers have taught us in Gyanan that being greedy, um, having the love of world in our heart, being egoistic, Lobh, Maya, Kam, getting angry, going after worldly desires, worldly pleasures. All these are not good deeds. They are spiritual sicknesses, spiritual diseases. Now, identification of these spiritual diseases also comes from knowledge. We may have these diseases and we may not even realize, and we might think ourselves being good, smiley, practicing, going to Jamaat Khana 2 times a day, doing ibadat. I am really good person. But come to knowledge, learn knowledge, and you'll find out what is to be a true, real moment. Because moment itself is a generic term. Everybody is a moment. But Momin as Salik is the one who walks on the path, does not stand on the path. Walking means learning and growing. The way we have learned and grown in our worldly lives. It's only through the education that we learn and grow. Similarly, in Ruhaniyat, we got to learn to, grow and learn the path of spirituality. And we would be so, I was ashamed. I will talk about me. When I started this journey and had knowledge, learning, and realized that there are very many ways of sinning, and I did not know that. So our peers have taught us all these things actually in Ginans, but when we study these Ginans in combination of Quranic verses and Hadith, our understanding is really broadened, and we are able to realize we have a lot of work to do. We have a lot of work to do. And with Maula's mercy, that is exactly what we are doing by attending these kind of sessions when we learn about Faramis and have this reflection in our heart and desire to learn more, to realize how we are sinning, because without Nek Amal, good deeds, we have no saving for the hereafter. So we need to have good amount of money saved in our saving account. That will help us. And then Mola says the Som, Male Wajibat. So we did talk about Zakat, the pillar of Islam, the Som in great detail. And I remember that detailed sessions were also posted on your group. So I hope that you have benefited from that. Because the Som is again a very broad concept and it applies at 3 levels. It is just not giving the earning part to Imam. It is not limited to that. There is much more to the Son which we need to know and pay our dues. Then it says, Ma Baap ane Bhaiyo na haq, the rights of parents and our brothers, our siblings, our Jama'ati members, families' rights. What are the rights? We live in a Western society where the trend is that put your parents into senior citizen home because their lives are so busy. When Imam was requested to have Ismaili senior citizen homes where ginans are played and zikrs are going on, Imam said no. No. Imam said, I do not like that. I want our Jamaat, families, children to take care of their elders. So when we have come to live in the Western world, have we remembered our values? So that is another important thing that we need to pay attention to. And this can be very, very hard, because personally I have seen that it becomes very challenging living in Western world with, life the way we have, very busy life. but Imam expects us to meet that challenge. And when we follow Imam's Faramin with conviction, he makes the path easy for us. I have firm belief in that. So we need to know what are Imam's expectations and we need to fulfill that. It is difficult, no denying. Everything I'm saying is difficult. But tell me, what was easy in our worldly life? Going to school or college or whatever we studied, was it easy? To find a job and maintain it, was it easy? To find, good way of living, was it easy? Every part what we've achieved in our life was difficult, but we did work for it and we got whatever we have today. We are very comfortably living. So it was never easy, but we had to invest our energy and time to learn. Have we done the same amount or investment in our spiritual life? That's the question we are talking about. And remember, when a Mu'min Salik walks on the path, there's a beautiful saying, understanding that it is so hard to be true Mu'min. It is very difficult. But Imam says that if you were walking on the path, in reality, you don't walk. I walk and I carry you. There's that kind of saying there, and I'm just using that saying for us to understand that yes, the first step is very hard because we have to have this willingness to take that step. But when we take this step and when we walk on it, it is mercy of Imam who helps us to walk on the path. So we have firm belief that Imam is merciful. He's Rahman and Rahim, and he will help us. He needs to see that we do need his help because we have to have that desire that I want to walk, I want to move forward, and I want to sacrifice, I want to invest, and then his mercy will come. Then Mola says, Parasiyona haq, the rights of neighbors. We live in a strange world. We may not even know who is our neighbor. But it is an expectation, and that is our tradition. Being Muslims, Ismailis, it is our tradition that we need to know who our neighbors are, in the sense that if they are in need, we can help them. Back home, there was a joke that if you don't have milk or sugar or something, you go and knock on the door, may I have this bowl of sugar? That was the kind of rights of neighbors, meeting the needs of whatever you needed. Just a funny thing that, neighbors did not like that kind of attitude. But here, it's different in Western world. So when we are here, how we are mindful of our neighbors' rights, how we are considerate, all that comes into being a good human, being a good civil. Imagine Imam is teaching us to become a good civil member of society. This is all Imam's mercy. Imam does not have to teach us this. Imam has not come to this world to teach us, worldly lessons. It is our job. When we live in the world, we got to learn. But this is mercy of Imam. And remember, always remember that this was the time when Jama'at was not very educated. That is why we do not see Hazrat Imam going into such detail teaching us. So sometimes it is, very funny at times for some people that, wow, Imam is telling us that too. And when you feel that way, remember this is Imam's mercy. This is his love that he made Jamaat sit down and teaching them about how to behave, how to live in the society. Why Imam has to do that? The reason Imam wants us as Ismailis being advocate. Hazimam has said that I want you to be advocate. Advocate of what? Of Islam, which is our religion. That we are good, smiley Muslims. Wherever we live, people praise us because we are so giving, considerate, and caring people, polite people. So Imam says then, Istrina wajibi haq, rights of women. And I don't think in today's time I really have to go into detail of that at all. We have been educated that what are the rights of women. And Alhamdulillah, women do know their rights. And if not, there are very many resources available for us to learn that. At the same time, when we are saying that there was an oppression on women, today it doesn't exist in that way, the way it was in 1885. Learning the rights of women, we do not undermine the rights of men. We all treat each other in the same way and respect and take care of each other. And then it says, none Gnan apnar ustad na hak. Those who teach us knowledge, rights of them. Now these are all teachings of Islam actually, that we got to respect. So whoever teaches us knowledge, we need to respect. Now here, if I were to tell you something with humble apology, I do not mean to hurt anybody, but the intention is just reflection, because we are reading this Farman. There is a reason we are here, because we do want to understand these Faramins. And what has happened in today's time, living in the Western world, um, the element of respect, which has been taught in our culture, in our values, and this is us giving the rights, respecting everybody. In the West, it is seen that children may call their parents with their names. They call teachers with their names. Why? Because there is a equality. The concept of equality, we treat each other with respect and call with their names. That is not our tradition. Mind you, that is not our tradition. And I'll tell you, I'll give you the examples. Let's start with Jama'at Khana. Whenever somebody is made Mukhi, Mukhyani, we always say Mukhi Sahib, Mukhyani Ma. With time, because younger and younger people are becoming coming on part, becoming Mukhi and Mukhyani, so you would hear, hey Mukhi, where are you going? What are you doing? No, we cannot do that. We cannot. Our tradition is Mukhi Sahib. If we are respecting, following our tariqa, our culture, we got to say Mukhi Sahib, Mukhyani Ma. So what we are saying here, that we respect our elders, we respect our teachers who give us the knowledge. And that is why in our Islam religion, the word Sahib or Sahiba, Mukhyani Sahiba, Mukhi Sahib. Sahib is the term which is taught to us to be used and not calling people by their name. That is not our culture, our tradition. Even though we are younger, let's say if we have younger people, and it's like different, because in our culture, age is also respected. But even when they are younger, and if they are teaching us, we got to respect. Even if the Mukhyani or Mukhi Sahib is very young, our children age, but they are on the path, we got to respect them. That is our culture. And that is why we are different from Western world, their traditions. Yes, we have to learn and abide by their ways of doing things when we are with them, but they need to know what is our culture and how do we respect. The more they learn about our culture, with we showing these cultural values with confidence, they will say, this is right, you are right, because they themselves are not happy with the values they have. And Imam has very clearly, Haji Imam has given in his Farman, that though we live in the Western world, when we follow these Western values, does not mean that we take every culture, Western culture value without thinking or reflecting. So that is one thing which I feel that we are missing out, our youngsters are. And if they don't see us doing it, how will they learn it? We respect. That does not mean that we follow them if they are wrong, because when this concept of equality came in, because there were abuse and oppression by those who were in power. So it's not that when we respect someone, we do not use our intellect. We do not use our intellect, but that does not mean that we have to disrespect anybody. We can very respectfully agree to disagree. We can do that. So there are ways and means of living our lives in the light of Imam's Farami. This is Imam's Farman we are learning about. So when we are good civil humans in society, we are actually following the Farmans of Imam. So this is our ibadat. If we are doing that, we are following the Farmans. Immediately that is ibadat. Do you see how easy it is to be following the Farmans of Imam when we understand it and we review and reflect? So Alhamdulillah, then Mullah says that Murshid Nahak. Now Murshid is a term which is used in Sufi people. Sufi people use that Murshid. And Murshid would be equal to teacher. It would be equal for us as Imam, because Imam is our teacher too. So Murshid, we can say the rights of Imam. Now, rights of Imam? Yes, Imam has rights too. Have we given those rights to Imam? Farman Bardari, submission to Imam, checking our pulse, following his Farman. All what we are studying right now actually relates to the rights of Imam, because Imam is tied to us. How is he tied to us? Because when we went to Imam, that Mawla, I submit myself to you, tan man dhan. Though our parents took that bayya on behalf of us when we were children, but as soon as we grow up an adult and we say Jama'at ka hai zinda, that is the renewal of our bayya. Because we said we are entering to the Jama'at Khana and he is present. Hayyu zinda, he is alive and present. It is from Al-Hayy actually. Hayyu zinda is from Al-Hayy zikr, that he is present and alive. When he is present and alive and we enter into Jamaat Khana, bending our head, that is it. That is a renewal of our submission, saying, I submit myself, my Mawla, to you, because you are present and here. So, Murshid na haq. We can continue to go on about Murshid ka haq. It's so detailed. But I believe that we all know that. Most of things we do know that, but in the light of Imam Sultan Muhammad Shah's Faramin, because there are some pearls of knowledge which are there, and Alhamdulillah, with this time of Qiyamah, the end time, we can talk about these pearls in great detail, relating it to today's time. And friends who cannot read Gujarati, and that is why we are talking about it in English, so we can understand every word of Imam in the light of today's time. So we go further. Mola says, આ ઉપરાંત બીજા ઘણા કાયદાઓ છે તે બરાબર પડવા જોઈએ. There are very many more lessons, Imam says, just like this. You need to study it. You need to read it. Imam expects us to have the knowledge. He wants us to study. Question is that have we taken the same level of seriousness to study the way we study the worldly things? We keep up with the worldly news, worldly changes. Do we do that with our spiritual health, spiritual knowledge, spiritual progress? જેઓ સાચા હકીકતી મોમિનો છે તેઓનો ફાયદો થાય છે, પોતાની મેળે થાય છે. દુનિયાના ઢોંગ કરીને દેખાડવાવાળીની ઇબાદત વગેરે પણ ગુનાહમાં ગણવામાં આવે છે. Here it is, Imam is telling us. So, Imam is saying that those who do bandagi to show off. Hazri Imam has used the word pretension in his Farman. If you were to read the Baitul Khal Farman of Hazri Imam, he talks about pretension, pretending. Don't pretend to do ibadah. That's a hard word to hear. Imam is saying that. So pretending, when does that happen? When we are showing off. We want to feel good in our heart. Oh, I'm a good moment. I go to Jamaat Khana, I do bandagi. I need you to know I'm a good person. So let me tell you. Let me show it to you. All that immediately takes our good deed, converts it into sinning. Sinning. Our good deeds become sins. Why? Lack of knowledge. What is missing? Humility. How do we learn humility? Through knowledge. So Imam says, those who are sacha hakikati. Now those who know Gujarati, these are same words. Being honest, being true. But then there are deeper meaning. Sacha and hakikati. The word sacha, being true, honest, can be applied at a worldly level. But when Imam says hakikati, these are all those mu'minin who are honest, sincere, but additionally they are sincere in their spiritual life as well. So hakikati mu'mins are everybody, but hakikati mu'mins are very few. So sacha hakikati mu'mino che temne faydo થાય છે. Those who are true, honest and hakikati, seekers of the truth, for them this will benefit them. Imam is saying this will benefit them, and automatically it will benefit them. How strange is that? Automatically? Didn't we just talk about it that when we seek His mercy while walking on the path, knowing it's difficult, it is hard, but I do want to sacrifice, I do want to invest and walk on the path, His mercy comes automatically. Imam does test us that are we doing just lip service or do we really mean to do something? Those who do lip service, they don't get any benefit because they are sinning. They don't even know that. But Imam says those who are hakikati, for them, the rahmat of Imam will automatically come and help them. And then Imam says those who in the world show off by any means or ways, show off, all their good deeds are actually converted into sins. Now that's what I would be scared of. We have to protect our good deeds in such a way like Shaitan cannot take it. Because it is what Shaitan's trap, right? We want to feel good, so we show off. Now feeling good, why are we not feeling good? What is missing that we are not feeling good? It is the ego which is telling us, the Shaitan telling us, you're not good enough. So we listen to that voice and we give into that because we want that praise in the eyes of others. I am good. Immediately, whatever we had earned is stolen. I am member of this or I do that immediately. Humility is a very important and powerful principle we need to follow. And that's what Haji Imam has told in Baitul Kal Farami, that sit with humility. Is there a position of a humility? I ask you. No. Humility is a practice. It is a practice. It is not limited to lip service. But humility is a practice which we do need to take upon ourselves in all walks of our life, all ways of doing and living our lives. Humility. Because humility is loved in this world too. Yeah, there are some people who may not understand it. Bullies are there too. But we're not talking about them right now. We are talking about a Mu'min Salik being humble. And when we talk of all these negative forces, bullies and whatnot, do we see today how the world is changing? That there is so much of education, that oppression and bullying and all that kind of things are being looked down upon by all. So automatically the world is changing because of this end time. And honesty, sincerity, humility, good traits are coming out, brotherhood, all these are appreciated. So Alhamdulillah, it is all due to Imam's miracle which is happening. Then Mola says, જેઓની જેઓએ બાતુની હજ કરવી હોય તો તેઓને જરૂરી છે કે ધર્મના કામમાં રહે, કાયમ રહે. Subhanallah. So now Imam is talking about Hajj, which we talked about earlier. Imam is talking about that those who would like to do Batni Hajj. I'm sure Imam must have heard those, Jama'ati members who were sitting in front of him because it was a day of Eid, Hajj. And Imam says that those who are wanting to do Batni Hajj, there's a physical Hajj which people do who have money, but then these Mu'minins who are sitting in front of Imam, very poor, and Imam says if you want to do spiritual Hajj, you can do so. And Imam says, તેઓને જરૂરી છે કે ધર્મમાં કાયમ રહે. Be consistent on your faith. ઇમામે ઝમાનનો દામન મજબૂત પકડે. Hold on to Imam. Now how do we hold on to daman, meaning the shirt of Imam, right? The front part of the shirt of the Imam. It's a saying, the way it's being said in India, Pakistan, right? कि दामन को नहीं छोड़ना. Hold on to Imam. But we can understand this now through rope of Allah. In Silver Jubilee, Imam had given us this verse, وَأَتَّسِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا وَلَا تَفَرَّقُوا. And hold on to the rope of Allah and do not be divided. So Imam here is actually saying that those who are holding on to that rope of Imam, the nur which is from Allah, that is Imam, those who are holding on to that rope, they are the ones who are consistently practicing their faith. And then Mullah says, Potana jaat bhaiyothi mohabbat kare. Again, Imam is teaching that have love in your heart for your brothers. Hazri Imam has talked about diversity because this time has changed. Now we have so many other Ismaili members who are followers of Pir Nasir Khusro tradition. We all are from Pir Sadruddin's tradition. We just know Ginans because through Ginans we learnt about our tariqa and then Faramins. We did not know about Quran and they only knew Quran. Pir Nasir Khusro's tradition, poems of Pir Nasir Khusro, which is Ginan, like Qasida, and Quran. And they read Hadith too. So for us, we need to know about that tradition and they are learning about our tradition. But majority of Ismailis in today's time are actually those Ismailis who were converted in Ismaili Tariqa by Pir Nasir Khusro. There are 18 millions and we have only 2 millions. We are in minorities. So remember that we need to learn about their traditions too, if we are truly following the farmans of Imam. And we do need to learn Quranic knowledge too. પોતાના જાત ભાઈઓથી મોહબ્બત કરે તેઓની સાથે મીઠાશથી વર્તે. તેઓની સાથે મીઠાશથી વર્તે. Be kind, be loving, be sweet when we are dealing with differences which are great. Sometimes does not make sense, but then they are brothers and sisters. દસોમ માલે વાત આપે જેથી તેના ફાયદા અને સવાબો આટલા છે કે તે વર્માવી શકતા નથી. Imam is saying pay the sawm and you do not know how much reward is there, how much benefit is in there in giving the sawm. Imam says I cannot talk about it. The sawm is a very great topic in detail and Nachis has told you that there's a session you can learn about that what the sawm actually means and what are the benefits. Then Imam says Batuni bandagi kare. Very interesting. Earlier Imam said that you need to do bandagi. Here he's saying Batuni bandagi. Bandagi which is hidden. Now how do we hide our bandagi? There are very many understanding for this, very many reflection points in here. When we do go for our ibadat, those who are in Jama'at Khana, they see us. But majority do not see us and that's okay. We do not need to let anybody know we are doing bandagi. We don't need to do that. This is between me and my Imam. What I'm doing, where I'm doing, nobody is judge of our Imam. Nobody. So if somebody says, oh, I'm so happy that you come to morning khane, Shukr Mola and take turn. Why? Because Shaitan can enter. Why? Because this person is going to give you the feeling of pride. You're happy already because you're talking to Imam. You're sitting in that conversation in Ibadah. You don't have to have somebody telling you that you're good. You know you're good. Keep it inside. Keep it in your batin. And if someone who does not come, we don't judge them. And I would start with our youngsters. In Western world, our youngsters are not very regular. Jamaat Khanas are not, our youths are not there, majority of them. So are we going to judge them that they lack an Imam? I disagree with that. We should not. That is Farman of Imam. If we have taught them values, believe me, they are practicing in their heart. Our children are much more ethical than us. They have been brought up with good knowledge, society, worldly knowledge than us. So we do not need to judge anyone. We just pray. If we feel worried about anybody, our children or anybody, we pray for those Jama'ati members. So we do need to hide what we do, meaning that we do not need to talk about it. We need to keep it inside with us. And a Mu'min stays in bandagi 24 hours. So are we going to tell others that I'm doing bandagi? Right now I'm doing zikr in my heart and I'm working. I'm cooking but I'm doing zikr. I'm in office but I'm doing my zikr. No, we don't need to tell anybody. It stays in our heart. It is between me and my Imam. We have to remember that. Because on the day of judgment, No, my friends or my family will come and say, you know what? She always said her zikr before going to bed. No, they are not going to be there. It is me, my soul, and my Imam. So why do we need to let everybody know? Why? Because Shaitan tells us, you know what? You're not good enough. So you have to tell people. And when you tell people in their eyes, when you see the praise and appreciation, that makes us happy. You know, praise is one of the ways Shaitan enters in our being. So we have to be very, very careful. Humility doesn't come easy. You have to create these blocks in your mind that the praises do not go inside you. You remain very humble. Why? It is all due to Imam. Who am I? I'm not capable of anything. It is all Imam's mercy. So why do I take the credit? With humility, we give credit to our Imam. So, बातनी बंदगी करवी, चल कपट तथा जूठू बोलवाती, डरीने. This is too small for my eyes actually. So, chal kapat, we do, those who know Gujarati, cheating, lying, chal kapat tatha jhuthu bolwo. All these uncivil things. Even our, worldly ethical life, we are told to be honest, to be, good in our dealings, sincere. Do not have this deception in our heart. All that is not acceptable. If it is not good in our worldly life, how can it be good in our spiritual life? So what we are saying that in our worldly life, we do not need to deceive anybody. And here I remember this Ginan. This name of this gentleman whose mother used to tell him that you do this grocery business, add weight in your balance, so you give them less product but you get more money. Ibrahim somebody, I don't remember the name right now. And it is mentioned in Gina that he used to do that. And then he listens to this Ginan, Seth Kahe Samro Vanotar, beautiful Ginan by Pir, that Mola is going to take the hisab. Whatever you're doing in your balance, cheating, Mola knows everything. This gentleman listens to that Ginan and he wakes up. He says, oh, exactly I'm doing the same thing. How can I do that? Mom is telling you. Now imagine, mother is telling him, because they're poor, cheat, so we get more money. But then he says no to his mom. Can we tell where the shaitan is going to come from? So what are we supposed to do? Please seek knowledge. That's what happened to him when he heard that Ginan, that why are you cheating in your balance? If we cheat, it's not going to be hidden from Imam. And that's what Imam is saying. That do not be deceiving. Do not have deception in your heart or in your action. Do not be lying. Haram tata halal ne orke. Haram tata halal, haram and halal, if you were to take into Shariat, it is totally different. But remember, every Shariati law also has a Batni meaning, and we are Batni Tariqa. So in Batni Tariqa, we need to understand what is halal and what is haram. It is not just limited to pork eating or meat eating. No, there's much more than haram and halal. Any earning which is earned with cheating is haram. If someone earns money by cheating or deceiving and then pays the son and thinks that this money is halal, they are wrong. Lack of knowledge. So no deception should be there for a moment. And then it says, જેથી તેને ફાયદો અને સવાબ જેથી તેને ફાયદો અને સવાબો એટલા છે કે તે વર્ણવી શકતા નથી. Imam says that if you do all these things, stay humble, stay honest, although what we've been reading, all of it, when you do that, then the rewards are unlimited. The sawab is unlimited. Now tell me, when we are reading all this, it sounds very worldly, ethical, moral way of living. A civil person will do that, being honest, not deceiving. How will it help me in my batni tarika? How will it give me reward in my batni life? Because improvement and betterment starts at physical level. If we are not ethical in our physical life, in our dealings, we cannot go further in Ruhani Taraqi. There's no way. Because first is our physical, our body, then there is a soul, and then there is intellect. So there is impurity from intellect to soul to our body. Though the soul, someone would say, oh, it's a child of Imam. Yes, but we are using that soul so poorly that it is all tainted, it's all black. All the energies are all black. So intellect is impure without knowledge. There's no knowledge. Then the soul is also used to deceive, because it is due to soul that I can move. And then body is doing the wrong things. So if we do not have ethics in our physical worldly life, forget about any batni taraqi, because the door to batin starts at our physical level. That is the first criteria. So when we become good, civil, ethical, moral beings, actually we are following the farmans of Imam. And Haji Imam's farmans are so beautiful and unlimited. Imam talks about ethics of Islam. So if we want to understand what is the ethics of Islam, Imam Sultan Muhammad Shah has gone into detail telling us that. Because Jama'at at that time was uneducated. Haji Imam says, you know it all. And I trust you that you will do this study and learn, because you are now educated. So let us finish this paragraph. Mola says, અમારા બાપ દાદા તમને ફરમાવી ગયા છે તે તમને ખબર છે તેથી અમે લખન કરતા નથી. This transliteration is poor. That is why it's so hard to read. Imam is saying that Aka Hassan Ali Shah, Aka Ali Shah has also told you about these things. That's why I do not go into detail of it. So interestingly, Imam is saying that all the Imams, before him, after Iran time, when Imam came to Iran, due to Jamaat being uneducated at that time, in that area, Imam used to go into great detail, teaching us how to live our worldly life, teaching us the ethics. And Imam says that if you were to study and know these, you will learn what are the ethics. And in opposed to that, Haji Imam doesn't go into detail. And why? Because we are educated. We can study about ethics and we can learn. So here we should end here. And just to summarize that, Imam here started to talk about Hajj, physical Hajj. Then he teaches us about Batni Hajj. Then he's talking about ethical values. But each ethical value, Imam actually has helped us to see how it impacts our spiritual life, our spiritual progress. And that understanding we need to have. And when we have that, it will give us joy. It will give us happiness. Why and how? Because in our worldly dealings, we'll be nice, we'll be good, we'll be civil, we'll be sincere, we have no deception. And some people may think we are fools, because there are people who will judge us like that. But they don't know what we are targeting at. We are targeting at earning the kamai of the end time. Because this world is actually for earning for the end time. Those who do not think that, they are only earning for this temporary life, and then when they die, nothing will come with that. In opposed to that, if we are focusing on what we are earning for end time, when we go, oh, we'll be rich. We will have royal Bangalore there. That's how I imagine. So that's my understanding, and I'm sharing with you that when we go there, we will have a royal Bangalore. People will have a mention in this worldly life. Earning from deception, probably, we don't know, but we are just taking this example to learn. But we might be not having mention here, but surely we will have royal Bangalows next to Imam. And this is the understanding. I give it to you from a prayer which is in Surah Tahrim, chapter 66. It talks about dua of the mother of Hazrat Musa alayhi salam. When Hazrat Musa was put in the river, and wife of Pharaoh, her name was Asiya, she gets that basket and she takes care of Musa. And eventually when she dies, her prayer was that, oh Allah, give me a house next to yours. She was a Momina. She was a Momin woman, and she prays that give me a house next to yours. And that is what, our beautiful imagination can be, living in this worldly life, living with purity in our heart, that Mola, I want a royal bungalow next to you, so where you visit me. That's a beautiful imagination, beautiful prayer in our heart, which gives us joy and happiness. We do not want anybody else to see that or realize that, because they don't know what we are doing. So I see here a friend is helping me, and they are saying, Eji motero hat taro bahure vanotar. Tu apne aap seth thaine betho ji. You control many accounts in your large shop, O clerks, and sit there imagining to yourselves that you are the mighty. Eji khota tara trajwa ne dandi mahe pasan. Your scales and balance are untrue, with their bars tilting to one side, and your weights are false and heavy. So this is the Ginan I was talking about, Wazir Ismail Ganji. Wazir Ismail Ganji, who's being taught by his own mother to cheat. And when he listens to this Ginan, he says, no, I'm not going to cheat anymore. No, that's not me. That's not my mom's teaching. That's not the guidance of my Peer. I will not do that. So Alhamdulillah, thank you for sharing that Ginanic words, and Wazir Ismail Ganji is the one, his example is in front of us. Thank you, friends. Ji.
Subhanallah, subhanallah. It's amazing to every time we hear these sessions about, focusing on ethics, and it seems like we need to do this every moment of the day, so we stay alert and conscious that we're not being trapped by the whispers of Satan. So, subhanallah, subhanallah. Friends, if you have any questions, any comments, you can come forward. You can unmute and ask.
Yani Madad,
Malay Madad.
Izzat here, Niamat Appa and Nevin, but thank you so much for your seva, and it's really, really good. Although we know some of the things, most of the things, but when we hear it again, it makes so much difference, and it reiterates our feelings, Virajata,
Yeah.
So I just want to say thank you so much.
Shukran, Mala. Shukran.
Just one question, Niamat. When the first part you started was on 18th of February, right? 18th of February. What part is it today?
Oh, 8th September 1885 is the Farman date.
What
are you talking about?
Was it 8th of September?
The Farman, second
Yeah.
Farman in Kalam-i Imam-i Mubin, yes.
8th of September, is it?
Yes.
And the program itself, you started in Gujarati. When was it the first time? That was on February, isn't it?
So this is English. Gujarati is in the evening time, which is not good for friends who are joining from Africa.
Yeah, sorry. So English mein, so what number of parts is this today's one?
I think it's a 6th or 7th session.
Yeah. Only because I got it on my from Nevin, and it says part 1, so I'm a bit confused, So I thought maybe it has started again. So I was happy because I missed last couple of times, 2-3 times because of all this, whatever. So also it is started at 18th. Yeah, okay. Thank you for clearing that.
Shukran.
Yeah, because I missed few of them. Gujarati one I listened and I missed quite a few of them. So again So because it was starting again, I thought I got excited. I thought, oh, this is from the beginning, which I haven't seen. And now I've missed so many on them. So, but thank you so much for giving us knowledge. And thank you all for your sevas. May Mola bless you with lots of barakah. And Mola ke koi ji motaji na kare. And give you more knowledge to share with us. Because I really, I can't hear properly. So this, your one, I can hear really well.
Shukr Mola, shukr.
Well, so Shukar Mola, because last week when you sent me recording on my iPhone, I can't hear on the phone. I can hear better in my iPad. So I was so sad, I said, I'm missing out on more. So yesterday, it was Friday morning, and I was so excited. I thought it was Saturday morning. And I got up early and got ready for 11 o'clock. Oh my God. Then I remember that I got that excited. Because then knowledge means that I was feeling all, what you call it, like sad,
Yeah.
In knowledge hall, I didn't hear anything, because I can't hear very well on my phone. So I was so excited. So thank you so much. May Allah bless you with all your mushkil asan and everything. Keep giving us knowledge, okay?
Amin.
Well done. Thank you all for your sevas. Thank you, Yali Madat.
Well, Ali Madat. Yali Madat, I have something that we might, my name is Mariam, sorry, Mariam Berji. I have something that I think while we are listening to these sessions and these thoughts keep coming into my mind, is that trying to explain the continuity of imamats and the imams farmans from one imam to the next. I may not be being very clear here, is to the younger generation is getting more and more difficult, because when we talk about, earlier on when we started these programs, you talked about change, Qiyamah, and that change was, the Farman was given by Imam Sultan Muhammad Shah, and that change is still taking place. And the reason I bring this up is because recently, very recently, in the last 4 or 5 weeks, we're hearing about artificial intelligence and we're hearing all these changes that are taking place. But these changes were told to us by Imam Sultan Muhammad Shah, and the new generation, the younger generation, do not have access, or maybe do not even connect the prediction of these changes that have happened. And I am a bit sad, actually, that the younger generation can't connect that what the Imam said in previous generations still pertains to today, but in a different context, obviously. And this is a difficulty which is really on hand, because when you talk about the sun, even when you talk about the basics of imamat, you talk about Gadir Kum, for them, for the younger generation, it is very, very difficult to accept that there was a prophet, there was Hazrat Ali, and the power passed from the nur, passed from the authority, sorry, I used the wrong words, that the authority passed from Nabuwat to Imamat. And this is something which I think is really important, that they begin to understand and can connect that this is a continuation. It doesn't stop. The physical changes, the nur doesn't stop. It continues. And therefore, what the Imams have taught us in previous times and generations still pertain to today. And I think these sessions we are having with you, I know I have a young nephew online with me now, and I have persuaded him to come on here, and also he is willing to learn. So for him, I think this is an eye-opener. But how are we going to reach out to the other younger members of our Jama'at to understand that the ball being the word of Ghat Imams and the ball of Karim Shah, there is no difference. It's in different context, in different languages, in different wording, but the message is still there. And how it is interpreted to the modern times, and hence the living Imam, the living word of God. I am not sure how this is going to happen, and for me it is really quite worrying and sad.
Thank you, Mariam. First of all, I'm truly grateful to informing me that there is a nephew there, because I'm still not targeting youngsters. And if there are youngsters in the group listening, I would go into more detail in some concepts. So thank you for letting me know. And I would.
Yes, yes. Imran is listening. His name is Imran.
Yanimada, I'm here.
Oh, Imran.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Yeah,
Oh.
and I would just agree with everything that Mariam Bai said. And it's also very insightful. Just from my point of view, I know I've been brought up in the Western world, and I've had Western education, and there's lots of change happens in the worldly world, and I know there's always, you want to chase after the next goal, or whether it's a degree or a more advanced degree or a higher degree or a bigger car or a bigger house, and everybody seems to be doing this, and it's very possible to do, but then you get to a stage and it's like, well, do I get the next upgrade of the car or the next upgrade of the house, but what does it mean to me? And this is one of the questions that I keep finding myself asking. And by joining these sessions, I'd say what you said today is living as a good person, living with ethics. This is what my parents have taught, and this is what we try to live with, but it's just more clear with knowledge, and you understand why you're doing it, and it feels the good way to do and the peaceful way to do things. And if you understand why you're doing it, and you can explain firstly to myself why I'm doing it, then you can explain to other people why you're doing what you're doing.
Thank you, Imran. So thank you, Mariam, for telling it. So Imran I hear from Naveen Sahaba that he's very interested in his listening to different lectures. He's asking on his own. So I'm very honored and grateful for Imran's interest. So, my dear sister Mariam, the way you have brought in your nephew, I would urge all the friends who are here, normally, normally I see at our ages, what we can do is to bring changes in our grandchildren or nephew, nieces, whoever young and who are listening. We can bring them to knowledge session or tell them, even if they are young grandchildren, they love stories. Tell them the stories. And through stories, we will teach them all these, pillars of Iman. Iman itself is given actually in the beginning as a blind faith to young children, that we believe in Imam is there. So in so many ways, we can start teaching to our young children, and growing further, older, there are ways and means. Do I not feel sad? I do feel sad, but then I have firm belief in the mercy of Imam, that whoever will seek, Imam will bring them. So Imran here may not realize that he was seeking. He may say, oh, Mariam brought me here. But in reality, in his heart, there was a questioning going on already. Why am I doing this? Why is it happening? And that actually is the reason for him to connect. It is mercy of Imam. So we have to believe in Imam's mercy and pray for our youngsters.
Yes, just to correct that, I didn't bring him in. His curiosity brought him in. Imi and I talk quite frequently. I am his Masi, actually, and we talk frequently, and it is his own curiosity that has brought him here today. I had very little to do with it except pass the Zoom call message on. So I think it's in his search, and his search for value in his life, that brings him to this congregation today. So I will take no credit for that.
Yes. So I just want to add, because you said it so beautifully, that it's a curiosity. So just so you know, that in Quran, in allegorically, it says that curiosity in itself is an angel. So when you are visited by an angel and you respond to it, because angels do visit. Imam says it in his Farman, and we will study that. Angels do visit us, but there are very few who truly respond to the calling of the angel. When you respond, that is it. You are given the benefits, and you continue to respond. You continue to go further and further and further. So Alhamdulillah, thank you. Thank you for you sharing that, and thank you, Imran, for your interest.
I mean, and
Wow.
thank you for all your efforts as well.
Thank you.
I just thought, yeah, I mean,
Imran, if you find anybody else who are interested, bring them on, and we can have, because according to age also matters, right? If you are young, if I know that you are younger people, then we can have a different session with mercy of Imam. We will have to find time to do that. But definitely, if you are patient, and approach has to be different with different age groups. But if you are patient and understanding, you will benefit a lot. Even when I hear friends, those who say that I don't understand the language, even different language, and I say, you will be taught that language in your heart if you are patient and true seeker. And I've seen miracles myself. So Alhamdulillah.
So,
Subhanallah.
in light of what we have said, how can we? I mean, I know if we were to do anything a little open and aggressively to bring our I'm talking about young adults now. This is because the subjects we are talking about are perhaps too difficult for the very young members of our Jamaat to understand at this point. But the younger adults need to be brought in, because today the biggest complaint we get is that we don't understand what is being said in Jamaat Khana. Therefore, it is boring, and that's why we don't come. We don't like the way the institutions are working. So these are the complaints that come through. For people like me, if the Imam says jump, we jump. If the Imam says die, we die. That's the nature of the faith. But to the young people today, it is extremely difficult to accept that the Imam is the pivot of our being, of our seeing, of our living, of our ibadat, of our prayers, of everything. For them, it is not an acceptable thing. And I think, some of the Imam Sultan Muhammad Shah's farmans, actually, because Karim Shah has moved forward now, some of Sultan Muhammad Shah's farmans may bring a bit more clarity. Only yesterday, I came across, I was cleaning some cupboards out, and I came across a very nice signed photograph, which was given to my grandparents, of Mata Salamat and Imam Sultan Muhammad Shah in his own writings. And on that he puts with blessings for those people who adopt short dresses, Aga Khan. And this is been given to my grandfather, and Imi, if you're listening, I will show it to you next time you're home. And I was absolutely flabbergasted when I saw this photograph, because Mata Salamat is standing in a blue dress, Imam is sitting, and this little notation has been written in his own hand. And I read that again, and I thought, blessings for adopting short dress. Now, I know this happened for the East African Jamaat, because the Imam at that time was trying to get us out of the frock pacheri and saris and the dupattas and all the rest of it. And I see I've gone back to it now, because I have adopted the Pakistani way of dressing a little bit in Jamaat Khana. But it is interesting to see when I saw this, and then you think back as to what has happened over the past 100 years, the migration, the Uganda situation, the movement of the Jamaat to Canada, to America, and we see why the Imam wanted us to adapt and to learn English. And this you can see this, but obviously there is this little note that says that you will have special blessings if you adopt short dresses. And this is something the Jamaat, I think the younger Jamaat don't understand, how this transition has happened. And I think if we can show them this, that I think I can't remember if there was a date on it, and for the next session I will dig it out actually, and I will put it on here, if I'm allowed to. I will put a photograph of this on here, and it was really I mean, it was years before all this happened. Uganda happened and things happened, and we adopted short dresses in East Africa. I remember my grandmother saying, "Hane imam joita tuko frok pero, pa tuko frok toluk pe ni to jo pe muke mari vich no munjapa this noto." You know, and I remember looking at my granny and saying, "Ma,
Yes,
ma
you're so right.
tu short frok perich ban lambo rakij." Short
Yeah,
style Karivich. You know, I was only little. I was only about 6, 7. I mean,
yeah.
when my grandmother passed away, I was only 6. But I remember she adopted this peculiar clothing, which was neither short dress nor long dress. But
So Mariam,
you know,
Mariam,
yeah,
apology, my dear. I have another class in few minutes, so we have to conclude this session. I do want to answer what you've been asking in different ways. Number one, what you did, talking to our youngsters, our younger Jama'at, telling them, sharing them, depending on their age, stories, sharing your life story, what you are just sharing with such a beautiful passion. I would love you to share with all those who you meet, all youngsters, and take that picture, make it bigger and keep it in your home, in your purse, everywhere, and tell them this story. Because through just that story and the passion you're telling me about your grandparents, and you're only 6, 7 years old, that is the story of transition which you need to speak about. You need to talk about. And each one of us, wherever we are, whoever we are, any youngsters we have to be role models for them, not only by giving advices. Do not give advice. Share stories and tell them how joyous it is. Speak with the passion and emotion that would connect, that would let our youngsters see that it is not that we are expecting them to do anything. No, detach the expectations, just tell them the stories, because that's the way of teaching which will be successful with our youngsters. Parents are already advising them to do this and do that. So do not give advice, but just share stories wherever you are, whatever you do, youngsters, grandparents, grandchildren, just share stories and then pray. Pray to Mala Bapa that let this angel of curiosity come to their heart and they'll ask you the
Amen,
next time, what about
Amen,
that?
Amen,
What about this?
Amen.
You educate yourself and keep telling them the story. Let's just end here. Naveen Sahiba, ijazat hai.
So thank you so much, friends. Yali Madad, Yali Madad.
Yali madad, yali madad.